All right, let's dive into a law that, honestly, you've probably never even heard of. But here's the thing. It's the invisible rulebook for one of the most real things you can own, land. We're talking about the Gujarat Land Revenue Code of 1879. And yeah, 1879 sounds ancient, but you're about to see how this old piece of paper is still calling the shots today.
So let me just ask you this straight up. If you own a piece of land in Gujarat, or maybe you hope to one day, what is it that truly gives you the right to stand on it and say, this is mine? Is it the sale deed? The money you paid? What is the bedrock, the absolute foundation of your ownership?
Well, believe it or not, the answer is a law that was written all the way back in the 19th century. This document, which started life as the Bombay Land Revenue Code, is the ghost in the machine. It's the framework that still defines who owns what, who pays what, and how the whole system is run. It's a direct line from the British Raj right into our digital age.
Okay, the best way to wrap your head around this is to think of the code as the operating system for all land in the state. Seriously, it defines the users, it sets the rules, and it decides who has admin privileges. So let's take a look at what this OS was built to do.
The code tells you its purpose right on the first page, in the preamble. It basically had two big jobs. First, set up a clear food chain of revenue officers, the people in charge. And second, create a rock-solid system for figuring out and collecting land revenue. In plain English, who's the boss and how do they collect the land tax?
So what in the world is this land revenue? Well, think of it as the basic fee you pay to the government for the right to use your land. The code's starting position, its default setting, is that all land is on the hook for this tax unless it's got a very specific get-out-of-jail-free card. It's the fundamental cost of doing business as a landowner. And to manage all this, the code set up a really clear top-down chain of command. At the very top, you've got the state government with the final say. Underneath them, running each district, is a powerful figure called the collector. Districts are then chopped up into talukas, each run by a mamadar, and right down at the ground level, you have the village accountant keeping track of every single plot. Simple, organized, and clear.
Now, let's meet the main player in this whole drama, the occupant. The code is very specific here. The occupant isn't just a renter or a tenant. This is the person who is in actual possession of the land, the one who holds the primary rights and, as we'll see, the primary responsibilities. They're the main character of our story.
So, you're an occupant. You've got your piece of land. What can you actually do with it? What rights does this old-school law give you today? This is where it gets really practical for anyone who owns property.
The code basically gives an occupant two superpowers. First, your land is heritable, meaning you can pass it on to your kids, your heirs. Second, it's transferable. You can sell it, gift it, mortgage it. But, and this is a huge but, Section 68 makes it crystal clear that these rights are not guaranteed. They are completely conditional on you paying your land revenue. Stop paying, and those rights, they can just vanish.
The code also recognizes that sometimes land relationships get a little complicated, so it lays out these two other roles, the superior holder and the inferior holder. Just think of it like a landlord and a tenant. The superior holder is the one who gets to collect the rent or revenue. The inferior holder is the one who pays it. It's the law's way of mapping out who sits where in the pecking order.
Okay, so you've got your land, you know your rights, but what if you want to change what you're doing with it? Let's say you've got farmland, but you see a future for it as a shiny new factory. Can you just start building? Well, not so fast.
The law has a very clear three-step dance you have to do. Step 1, you, the occupant, have to formally apply to the collector for permission, in writing. Step 2, the collector does their homework and either says yes or no. But here's the really clever part. Step 3, if you don't hear back from the collector in 3 months, you automatically get permission. It's a built-in deadline to stop your plans from getting stuck in limbo forever.
And make no mistake, this law has teeth. Section 66 is not messing around. If you decide to skip the permission process and just build your factory anyway, you're looking at fines, and you could even be kicked off your own land by the collector. So yeah, following that procedure isn't a friendly suggestion. It's a hard and fast rule.
This brings us to a really critical part of the whole system, the enforcement. I mean, what happens when someone doesn't follow the rules? What happens when an occupant doesn't hold up their end of the deal?
So, let's cut to the chase. What happens if you don't pay that core tax, the land revenue? What's the ultimate penalty? This is where you really see the power the state holds under this code.
The process for getting that money back escalates, and it escalates fast. It starts out nicely enough with a written notice, but if you ignore that,
things get very serious. Your occupancy can be forfeited. Poof! Your rights to the land are gone. They can seize and sell your movable property, your car, your tractor, and if that's not enough, they can even sell your other properties to cover the debt. It's a pretty stark reminder of just how important paying that revenue is.
So we've got this 19th century law with its collectors and paper notices and all that. How on earth does it work in our world of online databases and instant transactions? You might be surprised. It's actually managed to keep up.
You'd think a law this old would be a fossil, right? But it's been getting updates its whole life. It was born in 1879. Then, in 1913, a huge update added the Record of Rights, basically the official government ledger of who owns what. And it hasn't stopped. We're talking about changes as recent as 2017, specifically designed to drag this old law into the modern electronic age.
And that Record of Rights is really the beating heart of the whole system today. What started as a bunch of dusty books is now a massive digital database. It tracks everything, every owner, every mortgage, every single time a piece of land changes hands. It's the state's official digital source of truth for who owns what.
But wait, how do you make sure a digital record is actually accurate and trustworthy? Well, the old code's strict procedures are still in effect. See, when a change is proposed, what the law calls a mutation, it doesn't just get automatically saved. As this section says, that change has to be duly certified by a revenue officer first. It's the 19th century version of a two-factor authentication, and it's what keeps the whole system from falling apart.
So, at the end of the day, we're left with this kind of wild reality. A law that was drafted when people were riding horse-drawn carriages has been patched and updated to run the land records of the internet age. It's been incredibly tough and adaptable. But it does leave us with one big question to chew on. Is a law designed for the 19th century, no matter how many times you update it, really the best operating system we can have for managing land in the 21st? That's a thought for another day. Thanks for joining me.